All right, let's welcome in our guest who will help us analyze the markets and stocks. We have Vijay Chopra, Avinash Korashkar, Manas Jaiswal and Amar Singh with us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to NDTV Profit. Avinash, let's start with you. What are your topics?
Yeah, Anisha, I think we have three investment calls. The first one is on Hcl Technologies. We believe that within the IT space, this is a frontline company which trades at attractive valuations, and we believe that the macro situation in US is obviously going to be challenging. But if you look at the kind of acquisitions they have done in US, especially an aerospace company plus the geometric software, our sense is that over the next 12 months, with a 10-11% earnings growth for FY18, one could look at a target price of 945. The second is a PSU company, that is NBCC. We believe that NBCC will definitely continue to deliver strong growth. I think the order book visibility plus it's a debt-free business. More importantly, the kind of monetization they would be doing on their real estate parcels would obviously give them a kicker in FY18. So here we have a target price of 280. And in the mid-cap category, we like a company called the Bike Hospitality Limited. Here, we would like to reiterate this is a mid-size hospitality company. Again, operates in time sharing as well as takes hotels on lease and doesn't own them. So the model is extremely asset light, and which generates a return on equity of almost 25 to 28%, ROC of almost 35%. So here, earnings growth is going to be in the region of almost 18-20% for FY17 as well as FY18. So here we have a target price of 220.
All right, so those are Avinash's pick. Pre-open has started and we are seeing the Nifty and the Sensex seeing a big pop at open. The Nifty closer to 8130 and the Sensex up 50 points, but these values will settle down. As for the rupee, it has weakened a little bit and is trading closer to 68 to a dollar. It's actually 67.93 to a dollar. More flat, but over the last two sessions has seen a little bit of weakness. At this point in time, I think the Nifty is coming off closer to 8100, but let's keep up the discussion with our guest. Vijay, what are your topics?
I would recommend three stocks for today. My first call is Biocon. The stock has been doing reasonably well in the past few sessions, and I think that this rally would go on a bit further. The stock closed at about 964 yesterday. It could be bought for a target of 990, and this target I am proposing for a short term. And I suppose that if somebody holds on with a medium term perspective, the stock has the capability of going to 1050. Although I recommend a stop loss of 950 on the stock as well. My second call is Manganese Ore India Limited, MOIL. Again, the stock has been doing good, and I think that all the commodity companies have been more or less doing good due to the increase in the commodity prices, and of course this is going to have a direct correlation with the stock price going forward. So the stock closed at 361 yesterday. It could be bought for a target of 375 and further a target of 400 if somebody holds on with a medium term perspective, although a stop loss of 350 is recommended on the stock. My final call would be Grasim. The stock closed at 829. It could be bought for a target of 850, and a stop loss of 810 is recommended on the stock.
Right, Manas, what are your calls for the day?
I have two buy calls. First buy call is on Bata India, where stock has made a strong base near to 400 2 weeks back. It made a morning star on the weekly chart. Yes, stock is facing some resistance near to 430, but looking at the pattern, I think it can break 430 now and it can test 437 soon. So one can buy Bata at current levels, keep the stop loss below 414. Second buy call is on Infosys, where stock is making higher tops and higher bottoms now. It is trading above 50-day moving average. Yesterday it broke the resistance of 1000. Now I think the stock can test 1040. So I think this rally will continue and stock can test 1040. So one can buy it with the stop loss of 994.
Amar, finally your topics.
Yeah, very good morning. I have two buy calls and one sell call. The buy calls are in the IT space. We've seen a significant upside in the IT index. It's up by more than 10% at around 10,300 levels. So technically the IT index also looks strong towards 10,600, 700. So the first buy is TCS. in the range of 2330 to 2335 with a stop loss of 2308 and a target of 2375. The next is also in IT, that is a buy call in HCL Tech. It is in the region of 827 to 830 with a stop loss of 815 and a target of 855. So there are two buy calls in the IT space. And the third is a sell, that is on Hindustan Zinc. So Hindustan Zinc is a sell at 262, between 262 and 263 levels with a stop loss of 266 and a target of 257. These are primarily intraday and short-term calls.
Right. Some of the other names apart from these picks that would be in focus will be the Tata Group stock. So Tata Power this morning has given a notice whereby they have cancelled the AGM that was on December 26th. Remember, Tata Power EGM that was there was scheduled after they wanted to remove Mr. Mistry from the company, but they are saying that as the decision has come that Mr. Mistry has resigned, the EGM does not have any meaning, and that's why they have cancelled this. So this is a stock which could be in focus.
And there are a few other stocks we'll be watching out for on news developments. JSPL will be in focus. Jindal Steel, it's looking to sell stake in its Oman unit to cut its debt. Then Bharti Airtel, it is going to acquire Orascom's stake in the MENA undersea cable firm. So Bharti Airtel will be in focus. In Tata Global, we've seen that Anarjit Singh has resigned as the independent director of the company. Godrej Consumer is in the news. It has increased stake from 51% to 100% in Kenya's charm industries. And Idea Cellular has a news development. The FIPB is going to consider Idea's FDI proposal on December 28th. The FIPB will also consider 17 other FDI proposals on the same day.
Right. SBI is also a stock that will be in focus now. They were looking to raise funds. They had put up a proposal to shareholders, and shareholders has approved this fundraising. Now it's a two-part fundraising. The first is where they would be looking to raise 5,681 crores via issuing shares. The price came in yesterday at 269.59 per share to the Government of India. Government of India is already the maximum shareholder with 60% plus, but post this, 61.2 will be the holding. Apart from this, the company is also taken an additional approval to raise 15,000. Now they have not said which mean they would be looking to raise. It's ADR, GDR, equity and bond. So it could be a mix of any of these. But if government is increasing the shareholding, probably you could expect some dilution, or maybe they are just taking an enabling resolution by which if in the future the company would need any capital, they would have the resolution and the board approval to go ahead and raise funds. In the pre-open session, it's indicating a 2 rupee higher start.
Then there are a few small cap stocks that are also in focus. We've got Datamatrix Global. It's a small company, and InSync Capital Partners has bought 2.95 lakh shares at 102.08 rupees a share. Now, why this is important is Rakesh Chunjunwala is one of the partners in InSync Capital, which has purchased stake. Then we've got NIT Tech. It has got an order from the government, sent it into agreement for a government order. We've got Saturn Credit Care. Its board is meeting on December 23rd. To decide on issuing NCDs up to 15 crore rupees. Sasken is going to be in focus. Its buyback committee is also meeting on December 23rd to fix the price, the record date for the buyback. And then there's Jyoti Structures. It's won a $15 million order from South Africa's Eskom. So these are some of the stocks we'll be watching out for. Manas, wanted your view on the Bank Nifty. Now, the banks have been underperforming quite a bit, and the Bank Nifty, saw selling pressure, and it was below 18,200 where it found support previously. Now, what's it looking like for the Bank Nifty?
See, Bank Nifty has a lot of support in the range of 18,100 and 18,000. So I would be seller if Bank Nifty breaks 17,950. But at current levels, I think just wait and watch, because Bank Nifty is trading in a range of 18,500 and 18,000. So either side breakout will decide the next move on Bank Nifty.
Okay, so those are crucial levels to watch out for. Avinash, what do you make of the banks? Now, some of those banks have been consolidating for a long time, be it SBI, be it ICICI Bank, Axis Bank saw up move and then corrected. Do you like any of the bank stocks? Would you like to accumulate? Because now we're coming to the end of this, the demonetization phase. Remonetization is happening quickly, and soon enough, banks will go back to business as usual. Any that you like?
No, I think within the PSU banks, Anisha, we continue to like the frontline PSU banks like SBI, Bank of Baroda. We believe that the kind of discount which currently between the PSU and the private bank currently which prevails is definitely a good kind of attractive entry point. And more importantly, if you look at FY18, our sense is that the demonetization impact would obviously be more or less neutralized by the March quarter, although December quarter may be a little choppy and little disturbing on the asset quality as well as on the loan book side. But I think SBI, Bank of Baroda or even a PNB, I think these are stocks which have been battered down a lot, and I think the downside is pretty well capped. So probably one can accumulate these stocks from a 1 year kind of perspective.
Okay, accumulate some of the PSU banks because we're seeing good valuations there. Vijay, do you have a call on some of the auto names? And I'm not talking about the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers. Let's speak about some of these CV makers, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland. Now, there is still no clarity on GST, and GST was one of the reasons why we saw Ashok Leyland, underperforming quite a bit. What do you do? What do you make of CV players? You can perhaps even include an Aisha there. What would you do?
Well, I would stay away from CV plays as of now because we are going to experience another 6 months of confusion and turmoil, and overall, the consumption patterns are going to be absolutely erratic. And everything is related to the money circulation which happens in the markets. And I'm sure that, this is going to affect the CV makers and the overall sales of commercial vehicles as well. So I think the next 6 months are going to be challenging. Post this, I think that companies are going to reinvent new ways to fund trucks, and people will, a lot of the truck buyers were losing a lot of cash in buying trucks and commercial vehicles. So I would say that this would take some time before it settled down. But I think that Ashok Leyland would be my top pick, and followed by Mahindra and Mahindra, because it is also a very serious player in the CV segment. So I think that these two stocks would be my top picks, followed by Tata Motors.
Right. Vijay, would you have a view on the cement pack? So something like Ultratech, ACC, Ambuja, all was buzzing yesterday with about 1% gains, but they've corrected quite a bit. Do you like any of the large cap cement names?
Well, definitely. I think that I've been talking about it since some time now, that the demonetization effect is definitely going to impact each and every sector, barring those who are primarily getting benefited from demonetization. These are small cap and mid cap IT companies. So if you look at the cement companies, the entire distribution channel they have in tier 2-3 towns and villages used to work on cash. And I'm sure that even these companies are not geared up properly to go digital completely, or maybe partially. So it would take some time for them to recoup the retail sales. But my sense is that post this happens, the government has huge plans to invest in infrastructure, and there I think the cement companies would benefit over the longer term. So I think that all the major cement players, the large cap ones are going to be benefited from this drive, but it would take some time, and I'm sure that this budget is also going to bring some hope for all the infrastructure companies and the cement companies, because I think that infrastructure spend should increase considerably in this budget. So cement, steel should do well in the medium to long term, yes.
Right. Manas, a quick view on maybe Ultratech or Ambuja, any sort of levels that you can tell us?
After a big correction, most of the cement counters are showing some strength at lower levels. I would like to take a call on Ultratech Cements, because I think it corrected almost 500-600 points in last 2-3 weeks time, and stock has a lot of support in the range of 3,100 and 3,000. And yesterday we witnessed some buying interest at lower levels. So I would like to buy Ultratech Cement at current levels. My stop loss will be below 3100, and I have a target of around 3275, 3300.
Right. I'll just come back to you, Manas. We should get the opening prices anytime soon. It's expected to be a soft opening with a positive start. There you go with the opening bell. Aurobindo Pharma is up 1.5%, but don't forget it was among the top losers yesterday. Hindalco up 0.6%. Idea Cellular, Hcl all on your screen slightly on the higher side. Infosys up about 2 rupees. Nifty is open 23 points higher. So SGX was indicating 10 points, but the Nifty is up about 22 odd points. ONGC 45 paisa higher, 200 rupees. It's got X bonus, and that's why from 300 it's become 200 in the recent few days. Ambuja Cements absolutely flat. GAIL really no change. HCL Tech up about 0.5%. Kotak Mahindra Bank up 0.3%. L&T is also doing well. Aurobindo Pharma is now the top gainer. It was the top loser, I think the second top loser yesterday, so maybe it's just retracing those losses back. Ultratech was gaining yesterday as well, is up about 1.2% today as well. So 2 days in a row, at least till now, Ultratech is doing pretty well. That's as of now the second top gainer, followed by ACC. So cement as a pack, which was seeing buying yesterday, continues to see the case. Even names like Bharti Infratel, maybe a Hindalco, a Sun Pharma are trying to make a comeback. Tata Power, of course, has given their EGM cancellation notice. It would not have a price impact, but definitely it's a big story to track as far as the corporate world is concerned. JSPL news report suggests they are looking to sell their Oman plant. Remember, it started just a few months back, and now they are looking to sell that to cut their debt. Bharti Airtel, 303 rupees. It's a very small deal, $90 million. That's what they have acquired. So 303. Tata Global Beverages, 45 paisa higher, about 121 for Tata Global. Godrej Consumers has increased a stake in one of their arms, so about 1% higher for Godrej Consumers, about 1,462 for that name. 3,000 shares already traded for Godrej Consumer. It's a very illiquid, not that frequently traded counter. Idea Cellular is up about 0.8, 0.9, 73.74 as far as Idea is concerned. Some of the other names that are buzzing, maybe a Wellspun Corp, a Jyoti Structure, HT Media. These are some of the names that are attracting some amount of price action. SBI on your screen, 3.5 lakh shares traded, up about 70 paisa. Jyoti Structure about 12% higher. Anisha, any names that you can pick up on the volume side?
Well, Pankaj, volumes in any case during this time are not very good, but there are a few stocks that are seeing more than average volumes. And you mentioned Jyoti Structures. Of course, this news development, this small cap company has bagged $15 million order from South Africa. So that one's up about 12%. We got RDC buzzing up 1.5%. Bajaj Hindustan also seeing good volumes today. It's up 1.5%. There was some news that they've hived off their cogen business. Nalco's up 1.5%. Bharat Financial Inclusion is also up today to the tune of about 1.3%. Remember, it had done quite a turnaround in the last 1 hour of trade day earlier. Then we've seen Mandana Industries become more like a casino now. Mandana Industries now down 6.5%. We also want to pull up Tree House for you. The Tree House had seen a very volatile move. Excuse me, a day earlier. When it opened, it saw a cut of 7.5%, and then intraday it moved up to gains of 5%. It opened in the green today, but again is seeing some amount of selling pressure. It's now down 3%. This, of course, has a news development attached to it. So Tree House is one stock. Apollo Tyres is also down 1% and on reasonable volumes, as well as NHPC, though the movement there is not very large. So these are few of the stocks that are buzzing on volumes, and Aurobindo Pharma is up 1.5%. Now, Amar, I wanted to come to you on a stock like India Pulse Housing Finance. Now, the entire housing finance space saw a lot of correction, be it LIC, be it LIC Housing Finance or HDFC. Now, stocks like LIC Housing Finance and HDFC have come off the absolute lows they saw, but India Pulse Housing Finance is remaining quite stuck in the lower range, and it's quite far away from its moving averages, which are closer to 700 rupees, 700 or so. Do you think there is any chart formation that suggests a good opportunity to buy, or should one wait for some better prices before one invests?
Yeah, as far as overall housing finance companies are concerned, we've seen selling pressure in them, but India Bulls Housing Finance technically appears good. 644, 45 is the current level. 625 to 630 is a major support for this level. Once it consistently trades above 655 to 56, then there can be some upside movement towards 670 or so levels. But overall, what we are seeing is that the broader market, we are seeing selling pressure, be it Nifty or Bank Nifty, so that would take some toll on these companies as well.
All right. Vijay, do you have a view on some of the microfinance companies like Satin Redcare or even Bharat Financial Inclusion? Bharat Financial Inclusion came out with some analysis on what has been the impact of demonetization, and they are saying that things are now quickly going back to normal. But there are still concerns about their performance getting hit because they see large amount of the collections in cash. What do you do with some of these microfinance companies?
I would like to stay away as of now. Although these companies have fantastic business models, they have created a reach which even banks haven't, and they are actually catering to the poorest of poor and enabling their lives with the capital or the money they want. But these amounts are fairly small, and these are primarily in cash. And if India is dreaming to become a less cash or a cashless economy, I think that it's going to take its toll on these companies. It would be time before, all the poor people buy smartphones and, transact through mobile wallets and whatnot. So I think that another 6 months, it's not only the MFIs, but as I said earlier, most of these sectors are going to get hit. The consumption, we are already experiencing a downward trend in consumption, although there are some green shoots of revival, but again, to come back to full flow, it would take some time. So I think the stock can correct further. I would wait on the sidelines to see what amount of crack can happen, which I suppose should not be much more than 5. It should not go further down than 500. But I would wait as of now and would wait for some slower levels to get into MFIs.
Okay, wait for lower levels. As we're speaking, the markets have now corrected and the Nifty is back to sub 8100 levels. Manas, wanted your view on the indices. There was an expectation that we'll see a little bit of an up move for the markets. But if you keep going and revisiting lower levels, say closer to 8050, won't you just break it? Where do you think the Nifty is headed? Is it going back to 7900 or do you think it's headed to 8300?
See, one thing is very clear that Nifty has a lot of support in the range of 80, or 50. So, and right now Nifty is trading near to the support level. So, I don't want to go short on Nifty at current levels. I would like to buy Nifty, but not at current levels. Whenever it breaks 8125, I would like to buy Nifty with a stop loss of 8080. Right now, I don't want to take any call on Nifty at current levels. I just want to wait. And if it breaks 8125, then definitely I would be buyer in Nifty.
Right. Amar, any view on the tire stocks? Some of these tire stocks are looking on the downside this morning.
Yeah, overall, as far as tire stocks are concerned, I'll talk about Apollo Tires. And we are seeing selling pressure in Apollo Tires. Currently, it's around 193 levels. So what is, if I look at technically on the chart, it's not very strong, I would say from a intermediate term also. So there is likely to witness profit booking at higher levels. And what we've seen in the markets is primarily it was more of short covering around major support levels. Around 180 was a major support level for that, and currently it's around 193. So higher levels are likely to witness some selling pressure, and any pullback will be used as a shorting opportunity as well as a profit booking opportunity in Apollo Tires.
Right. In terms of some of the other sectors like NBFC, we just spoke about Bank Nifty, but overall NBFC as a sector, not classifying it into housing finance, microfinance, you think NBFC itself are looking is looking much weak?
Yeah, overall, if I see it, be the banking stocks, or I was also looking at the real estate financing companies, what we've seen right now is, from a short-term perspective, yes, there is a bounce back, technically speaking. But from a medium-term perspective, there is likely to be very strong selling pressure at higher levels. The same would also apply to the broader indices, be it the Nifty or the Bank Nifty. because till the time we don't see Bank Nifty trading above 18,600, 700 levels on the upside, there's going to be selling pressure. Beat Nifty, till the time Nifty doesn't consistently trade above 8250, 8270 levels, we're going to see selling pressure. And also, technically, the charts are not very strong. So, as I see that would lead to selling pressure on the downside. Yes, for Nifty, 7870, 7900, that's a key level. Those levels could be once again tested. And as far as Bank Nifty is concerned, Bank Nifty is even weaker. I would say 17,900 to 18,000 levels is a level to watch out for Bank Nifty.
Right. Vijay, how would you go ahead and play the oil price, which is now starting to rise? So would you want a Reliance in your portfolio, maybe a ONGC, something like an offshore company, which actually benefits from oil prices going up?
Well, I think that all the offshore companies should do well. Companies like Aban, Jewel Offshore, they should do well. Of course, Reliance has a silver lining now. There are a few positive things with the Reliance which are happening. The Jio subscriber base is also increasing, apart from their oil and gas business. So there is another added, serious revenue stream which is coming up, which will show up over a period of time, of course, because initial 1 to 2 years are primarily burning cash. But this definitely gives hope for a stock like Reliance. So I think that Reliance can be bought into in a correction.
Right. Avinash, Bike Hospitality is a stock that you have. I think we've spoken about it earlier, but can you just tell us that despite demonetization, why would you want to buy a hotel company? Any particular view on Bike Hospitality?
I think, Pankaj, we had met the management, and the management is very focused on the F&B part of the business, especially, this part of the business has been a major focus. And I think, currently, at least for the next 3 to 4 months, the order book has been extremely strong. They have said that the December quarter, which is normally a peak quarter, the business is more or less intact. In fact, in the time sharing business, which is very commendable, I think they buy basically mid-size hotels across pan India, across 70 locations, and they buy it during the off season and sell it during the peak season. So this business is also going to grow quite exponentially. And most importantly, it's a debt-free business. It's a high ROE, high return on capital employed business. I would believe that, once the numbers come out, Pankaj, the stock should definitely get re-rated. And I think clearly liquidity is a little low in this stock, but fundamentals definitely look, that this stock could get re-rated. I think it's a matter of time.
Right. What is the current valuation?
I think currently we are looking at earnings of around 8 to 9 rupees for FY17, and for FY18 we do hope that the earnings could be at least about 12 rupees plus. So clearly, I think in terms of valuations, it trades at a fairly attractive valuation of around 13-14 times FY18. And I would presume that this model has been tried and tested for last 4 years. So and if you look at the other hotel companies, they are already bogged down by huge debt levels, lower occupancy levels, and most importantly, the return ratios have been very pathetic. So clearly, I think this could be a kind of a differentiated business model, and I think the markets could possibly recognize this over a period of time.
All right, so now the markets have slipped into the red. The Nifty is at 8,077, 4 points lower, and the Sensex at 26,300, 8 points lower. So we've seen a good opening, and all the gains are gone. Even before 15 minutes, even for 9:30, the gains are gone. Manas, have you had a look at the charts of Zee TV versus Sun TV? Some of these media companies, now fundamentally there may not be a lot going for these companies because of demonetization and the impact on ad spends, but technically on the charts, do you think Zee is just consolidating, or is it looking weak? And how does it compare, stack up against, say, a Sun TV that has not really seen that much of a correction as Zee TV?
See, in Zee TV, the structure is weak because stock is trading below 200-day moving average. Yes, stock is taking some support near to 440. But if it breaks 440, 430, then definitely you can see almost 30 rupees downside in Zee TV. So you must be cautious on Zee TV, and if you're long, then definitely you should keep the stop loss below 430. However, on Sun TV, I think the structure is positive, and stock is making higher tops and higher bottoms. And I think on this correction, you should buy Sun TV, keep the stop loss below 400, 460, and I think the stock has potential to test 530, 540 in next 2 to 3 weeks time.
Right. Avinash, do you have a view on TCS? Yesterday, we had seen a good up move coming into TCS. Today, it's seeing some amount of consolidation. It's the largest IT exporter. Q3 is not supposed to be a great quarter when it comes to volumes because of the holiday season. What should one do with IT heavyweights like TCS?
No, I think my sense is frontline companies, I think definitely the December quarter is going to be a softer quarter. Considering the large number of holidays, but I would presume that looking at the kind of underperformance of TCS and the kind of cash it gets on the balance sheet, plus the kind of headwinds we are getting to know from the US market overall, I would presume that some sort of clarity would emerge post the March quarter, when clearly we could see what kind of macro numbers could come out in the US. And I think in terms of visibility on the domestic side, Anisha, they're clearly doing a lot of work on the digital side, which I think is going to actually get reflected in the second half of FY18. So I would presume that investors should hold on here. In fact, any decline should be a good opportunity to accumulate it, because clearly from here the risk reward could be better, provided the visibility in the US market improves.
All right. Now again, we are seeing very volatile moves in some of these pharmaceutical names like Sun and Aurobindo. Amar, your view on Sun Pharma and Aurobindo Pharma?
Yeah, as far as Sun Pharma is concerned, Sun Pharma continues to witness selling pressure. And technically speaking, Sun Pharma is basically looking at hitting the 600 levels earlier, the support that was there. Currently, it's around 625 levels. If I'm looking at a long-term chart, a medium-term chart, as well as a short-term chart, there's no sense of any pullback in the market. So any pullback should be used as a shorting opportunity till Sun Pharma consolidates at least. And the level to watch out for Sun Pharma would be around the 600 levels or so. As far as Aurobindo Pharma is concerned, looking at Aurobindo Pharma, it's currently around 678 levels. Aurobindo is likely to find support around 670 or so, 665, 670 levels. Today also there's selling pressure. It has formed a bottom, but we'll have to see whether that bottom holds or not. Again, technically speaking, I would say long-term and medium-term charts are not at all encouraging for Aurobindo Pharma as well. So the level to watch out, as I said, is around 670, 665, 670 levels. Technically speaking, there we could see some pullback, some short covering coming around, but again at higher levels, close towards 690, 95, 700, we could see selling pressure. But yes, now we are seeing some bullish divergence on chart patterns. So that somewhat is giving some confidence that maybe it will take support around 665, 670.
Right. Amar, any view on Indian Metal Ferroalloys? It's a non-F&O company. If you track that name, it's around 500 rupees.
I don't track this company, so I'll not be able to tell you on this.
Right. Vijay, any view on Indian Metal and Ferroalloys? Ferro prices have been going up. Their realizations are likely to get a big boost, which will come into EBITDA. You think such names would tend to do well when the metal price environment is strong?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, all the commodity, base metal companies and, non-base metal companies also, for that matter, they should do good because it is directly going to reflect in the stock prices, in the profitability, in the balance sheet, in the P&L. So I'm sure that, companies related to, as I mentioned, copper, zinc, copper is trading around 400, zinc is also trading at a high. So I think that these companies should do well. As in the coming quarters, we're going to see the profitability swell. So Indian Metal and Ferroalloys also, I believe that should do good, and I would recommend a target of 625 on the stock.
Right. In terms of REC, PFC, any view?
I think that these are good companies to have, but probably for the time being, as the markets are going to remain sideways, so I think that these companies should do good over a period of time. And one more thing I would like to highlight is that in the coming budget, I'm sure that a lot of allocation is going to happen towards electrification. So, companies like REC and PFC should benefit because the government has a long-term plan of taking electricity to the nooks and crannies of the country and, lighting up each and every village of the country and each and every highway of the country, whether it's a state highway or a national highway. So I think that there's a huge possibility in the power space. But as of now, as I mentioned, it's going to be a bit sketchy for some time. But I'm sure that Indians are good at tiding away with circumstances, and they will find out new ways of payments, and India is going to shine once again, and the consumption story is going to be strong once again. So power sector in the long run, yes, it seems to be good. In corrections, these stocks can be accumulated for a long term.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for taking out time for us. But just before we leave, Vijay, let's start with you. Any disclosures?
No personal holdings for the stocks I've talked about. I might have recommended it to our clients.
Avinash?
Pankaj, some of these stocks which we mentioned today could be in our clients' portfolios. Personally, I don't have any of these stocks.
Manas, disclosures for you?
No personal holdings, but we have recommended these stocks to our clients.
Right. And finally, disclosures for you, Amar?
No personal holdings in these stocks which I have discussed, but yes, some of our clients could be holding positions.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.